Hey there, Tamir from Fibonacci-Traders.com here. Midnight Market Recap, November 9th, 2023. Like, subscribe, and let's see what SPY and Friends brought us today. Bears to control today and just wiped out previous 4 days of gains. 4 consecutive dojis below a trend line, below the 618, 438 area. We said that if bulls will fail and give up on this area, bears will come in full power, and here we are. Next support is the 432. Let's see this gap at the 431 getting filled tomorrow, and then once again going to this trend line for a breakout. QQQ 0.77 to the downside. 373 area, still a very tough resistance. As you can see, it was resistance over here, very important support over here. So by natural things of price action in the past 3 days, the 373 area, very tough resistance, but on the good side, this trend line from resistance now holding a support, breaking below, closing below the wick. Below this, we have a double top scenario over here. Breaking below, and we will see 366 to the downside. Dow Jones 0.6 to the downside, same as the SPY. Bulls gave up for now, trying to break up above this trend line. Now, tomorrow, we might see this gap getting filled, and then 336 to the downside. Maybe not tomorrow 336, but never say never. Now you can take Fibonacci, swing low. This is our new high, and there you have it. All the levels to the downside and all the levels to the upside. IWM relative weakness 1.55 to the downside. Very bearish sentiment on the IWM. Looks like IWM is heading towards filling this gap at the 165.80, and then 162 once again will get retested as support. Bitcoin, after yesterday's failed trial to break up and close above. Bitcoin yesterday tried and failed to close above this trend line, went all the way to the 38 area, back down, now back inside this uptrend channel. Let's see where Bitcoin will end up this week. Weekly close above this channel, and we will see bull run continuation towards the 4,500. Above it, in my opinion, 49.90. 50K will come, breaking below this channel, and we will see 29,800 to the downside. Ethereum, very strong sentiment, bullish sentiment, of course, on Ethereum. Yesterday, 12.3% to the upside. We haven't seen this kind of candle on Ethereum since long time ago. Very, very long time ago. Since November 2022. 1 year ago. Exactly 1 year ago. As you can see, November 10th, 2022. November 9th, 2023. Now let's see continuation to the upside. Where Ethereum might be heading next takes Fibonacci to tell you where is the next resistance. Above 2140, 2358. Look left. Resistance, support will become resistance. Next is the 2641. Let me know in the comments below, where do you think Ethereum will end up 2023 going into 2024? Can we see 2641 to the upside? Crude oil trying to bounce back after a very steep downtrend, still inside this downtrend channel with a doji. Now let's see if this candle can represent some kind of a retracement bounce back up. 77 16 will become the next resistance. Just put a line, look left, resistance, support, resistance. Above it, we will retest this trend line to the upside. NG1 natural gas still going to the downside. 3 needs to hold. Otherwise, we will see 285 together with this red trend line. If you are long already on NG1, since I don't know when, since here somewhere, it is time. Maybe too late, but there is no too late to take some gains, lock some profits, and wait for a reversal to the upside. If you are not long yet, this is not the time to go long on NG1. Even if it's still inside an uptrend channel, wait for a bounce back. Maybe bounce off the 285 from this area, maybe of this gap. Apple, 2 consecutive dojis below the 618 Fibonacci retracement, downtrend, bounce, 618, 2 consecutive dojis. Some kind of a pullback is incoming with 180.60 to the downside is the support. Below it, we are heading towards the 177. Now we can take Fibonacci, swing low, swing high, 180, below it 176.80. Long continuation, weekly close above the 184.15, and then we will see this gap at the 190, 191 getting filled. SOXX 0.5% today to the downside, still struggling with the upper border of this downtrend channel. Let's clean the chart a little bit. Always clean your chart to get a better point of view of price action, and this is all we need. Trend lines, gaps, and if you want, now take Fibonacci. Swing low, swing high. Look where price ended up the day. 474.58, Fibonacci retracement. Below it, this gap at the 618, at the 382 Fibonacci retracement will get filled, but as we always say, follow price, use trend lines as your future support, and in this case, resistance for price action. This is the 4th time SOXX tried and failed to close above this trend line. Microsoft. Some fear of heights on Microsoft after closing a new all-time high closing price. Now, this area, the 357, 358, needs to hold the support. Otherwise, back to the 351. Overall, Microsoft, very strong. Tesla, something is going on Tesla. Maybe inside sellers. Insider sellers. Maybe Elon Musk is selling. We don't know. We will know in the next 48 or 72 hours. But something is happening for 5.5% to the downside. Very bearish day after a few consecutive dojis of this trend line. Now you have downtrend channel, steep downtrend channel inside a longer term downtrend channel. Downtrend inside the downtrend is never bullish. This gap is still open. The low of the day was 206.68. The gap is a 205.99. Still open. Tomorrow, maybe closed, and then some kind of a bounce back towards this white trend line. Sometimes, once a gap is getting filled, not sometimes, but it happens a lot. With high probability, once a gap is getting filled, price is reversing to the other side. Amazon, 137.70 now is the support. Long continuation above this area. As you can see, all this area, 143.50 and the 145.40 is a very tough resistance. All this area. This is why we talk about areas. It's never an accurate price. It's always an area. Now, 3 times Amazon tried and failed for now. Let's see how the week will close. But in my opinion, and the overall sentiment from yesterday, if the bearish sentiment will continue, Amazon will not close the week above this red zone. Meta, relative strength, green on the day, but with a doji, open a very strong, then got rejected. Now 316 is the support, below it 307, and as you can see, we are still inside this red box, and all this area between the 325 and the 328, all this area, very tough resistance on Meta since July, already 4 months of a resistance. Can Meta close the week above it? 2.5% to the upside in 1 day. I'm not so optimistic about it, but let's see. Never say never. Anyway, now the 317.44 is the support. Let's do it like this. From red line to red line. 316.54 is the support. Below it, 307 AMD. Another day, another doji. As you can see, the 115 area, which is also the 618. Downtrend bounce, 618 Fibonacci retracement. Very tough resistance in the past 3 days or so. 111 from resistance. Now we'll have to act and hold a support. Google, after a very nice bull run, went all the way to the 618. 3 consecutive days, this 618, once again, 618. It's all about Fibonacci and trend lines, and of course, price action. 618 is a very tough resistance area for an uptrend, or a very important area of support for a downtrend. In this case, bouncing off this lower border of the massive broadening formation we have on Google. Now, 129 is the support. Below it, 127, and then this gap will get filled. Once again, once you see a gap, and it doesn't matter where it is, to the downside or to the upside, embrace that this gap, more than 80-85% chance, will get filled. So we have 3 gaps to the downside, as far as my eye can see. We have another 1 gap to the upside. The colors doesn't really matter. Just for us to identify gaps. More than 85% chance these gaps will get filled. This and this. From these 3, 85% chance. So this and this. To the upside, we have this one. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Which gap or gaps will get filled first? 2 gaps or maybe 3 gaps to the downside before this gap? We can get some kind of a price action like this. Going towards this gap, bouncing up, breaking down, bouncing up, breaking down, bouncing up, closing the gap with this trend line, and then bouncing up towards this gap over here. But we are not here to predict. This is just some kind of a scenario that is very possible. Netflix, another day, another doji. Bulls of Netflix need to take the rest. A rest. 428, and then 420 will not be a surprise with this trend line, and then next leg up. Nvidia, relative strength, but closed the day first, filled yesterday's gap. 477, very tough resistance. This is why we always need to look left and identify where price came from. And if we identify with the highest accuracy where price came from, supports and resistance, it will help us to identify where price might be heading next. And as we can see, and this is why we use Fibonacci. So we don't need to look left because Fibonacci gives us everything for past resistance and support and for future resistance and support. Of course, together with the trend lines. 477, very tough resistance. Not surprising. Today, gapped up and got rejected back below the 477. Closed yesterday's gap. Now, this red trend line together with the 457 area needs to hold as the next support. Shopify 3.8 to the downside, basically moving sideways in the past week or so. 60.4 support, 62.90 resistance, breaking down and under 58. Below it, in my opinion, this gap will get filled. And as you can see, this area, the 48 area, Shopify likes to open gaps at this area. We had an open gap over here, got filled. We have an open gap over here at the 48 over here, got filled. So this area, Shopify, for some reason, likes to open gaps and then close it. So stay tuned for more interesting price action on Shopify. And if you can take Fibonacci, take trend line. Look at this. High, lower high. And here we go. Trend line. 618. Fibonacci. Price action. That's it. This is all we need to understand on multi-time frames. So I hope you found this video helpful, educational. If you did, like, subscribe will be much appreciated. Until the next video, until the next live, stay safe.